Hello, thanks for joining me for this week's Midweek Minute. This week we're going to John chapter 11 and verse 35. Now, the minute I said those words, you may have immediately recognized that verse. You may have recognized it as the shortest verse in the Bible. It only contains two words: Jesus wept. As a kid in Sunday school, when the teacher said, you got to learn a verse, you got to memorize it and present it to the class, that was always my go-to because it was easy. But that verse isn't just easy. That verse is incredibly powerful. That verse tells us that Jesus wept. Jesus showed grief. He showed compassion. Now, the context of John writing those words about Jesus is at the death of Lazarus. Lazarus has been dead 4 days. Jesus arrives there to Bethany and finds Lazarus' sisters grieving, and they are wanting Jesus to do something. And before he does anything, he weeps. He grieves. He shows the compassion of grief. Now, scholars speculate on why he did that. Was he simply modeling grief for us, showing us what appropriate grief looks like? Was he grieving because he knew what he was about to do? He was about to bring Lazarus back from that place that Jesus knew well, that place of eternity, heaven, and have him step back into the pain and the suffering of this world. In either case, Jesus shows what it is to grieve. Just a few weeks ago, our city of Shreveport was rocked with unimaginable grief as we learned of the death of 8 small children. And not just their death, and not just the death of any child. The death of anyone causes grief. The death of a child causes immense grief. The death in the manner in which these deaths took place, it overwhelmed our entire community. Everyone I talked to that week, I think, had something to say about how they were grieving and how they felt a sense of loss. Obviously, nothing compared to what the family was experiencing, but there was just this overwhelming cloud of heaviness and loss and grief that really just kind of hung over the city because everyone seemed to grieve this tragic, tragic event. Perhaps today you are grieving. Perhaps you've lost someone dear, or recently lost someone dear, and you're still walking through that grief process. I hope Jesus' words bring you encouragement today that it is indeed okay to grieve. It is indeed okay to weep over our grief, because even Jesus modeled that for us as Jesus wept. Hope you have a good week. I look forward to seeing you again next week for another Midweek Minute.